Hey, and welcome. Welcome to what? Welcome to Student of the Gun Radio. We're glad that you've decided to join us today. Congratulations on your good decision-making skills. We are at the Glass Case of Emotion Studios, which is located at Fight University, or Student of the Gun University. I guess Fight U is a branch of SOTGU. Would you not say that? Like, we have the overall, overarching dome here is Student of the Gun University. And within Student of the Gun University, we have Fight U.
This is correct.
That is correct.
We've got a whole polygamous farm or something. No, that's not right.
Polygamous farm?
By the way.
By the way.
So
by what way?
We had did you see the thing that Ryan Heffer posted in the grad program with the review that was from a long time ago where the dude was like...
Oh, yeah, the guy who was offended about the kitchen thing.
Yeah, and he's like, you guys should do a regular segment from the kitchen. So I was thinking maybe if you wanted to do like a Meal Prep Mondays thing, I can talk...
Meal Prep Monday.
Yeah, recorded from the kitchen.
Recorded from the kitchen. Meal Prep
Monday. And we
Monday.
can get Alex in here to talk about what she cooked.
She's not in here. She's not here.
Oh, yeah. Dang it.
That didn't work. Well, you know what we should do, though?
What?
It is Monday. It's a brand new week of Student of the Gun Radio. And we fell into that old trap, that old radio trap where you don't introduce yourself because you assume that everyone listening already knows who you are. But what do we know? Every week we have new listeners. We have people that tune in for the very first time. And welcome. I am your host, Professor Paul Markle. And I am the Professor Emeritus of Student of the Gun University. However, there is no tenure here. You have to earn it every single day. And the other voice that you heard on the outside of the Glass Case of Emotion is Jared. He's the studio engineer, the producer, and the...
I was described as the resident badass.
The resident badass. Who described you as that?
Somebody on Facebook.
Someone on Facebook. Well, it must be true then.
Yeah.
Because
it's obviously true.
If it's on Facebook, it has to be the gospel truth.
Yep.
Absolutely. So welcome. We've got a lot to talk about. Number one. Oh, this is something that I didn't write down because I was fighting with my computer today. You're like, Paul, you were fighting with your computer. Yeah, I screwed up.
He won.
I'm gonna admit to you guys that I screwed up. How many of you guys have Windows computers versus Apple's computers? Probably half of you. I don't know, a good percentage, right? And how many of you guys have had that little pop-up thing every time you restart your computer in the morning, you turn it on, and a little bubble pops up and it says, would you like to download the free Windows 10 upgrade only for a limited time? Well, I've been closing that window out and ignoring it for a week or two now. However long it's been, I just keep closing it, ignoring. And
you know why they did that?
Why?
They hit one of your mental triggers. Like, limited time, I have to get it now.
Well, no, I've been ignoring it, and I was just going to ignore it until you decided to upgrade your computer. And so I thought, well, Jared upgraded his like 3 days ago. And yesterday...
But I only used them once. Since then, so.
Yeah, I know. I should have asked you. But yesterday, I was going to be I decided to take the evening or afternoon off and not do any writing. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go in the gym. I'm going to do physical stuff. I'm not going to do any writing. I won't need the computer for a few hours. And one of the main reasons I hadn't done it was because I'm always needing it, and I don't have time. I don't have a couple of hours for the computer not to be working during the day. So I bit the bullet, and I went through the whole rigmarole, and of course it asks you, blah, 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 configuring, preparing, would you like to continue, please give us a second while we figure out the best way to do this, all that nonsense, right? So I went ahead and did it. I hit the upgrade thing, and last night when we closed the business down, it was like 32% completed. I'm like, all right, well, it'll be done in the morning, and of course it completed. The computer turned off. I come in the morning, turn my computer on, and it's a freaking hot mess. And all you guys out there, you're like, oh, I knew it. You're screaming at the radio like, don't do it. Yeah, I know. You should have told me beforehand. So what I did is I went on my phone and I typed in the word uninstall, and it auto-completed it Windows 10. Go to your search engine right now and type in the words uninstall, and I guarantee you that it will autocomplete the words Windows 10. Because there apparently are thousands upon thousands of people. You should read the reviews. My computer works worse than ever now. I never had problems with it until I did this. Well, how do I get rid of this? Die, Microsoft, die, that kind of stuff. Well, the good news is I actually was able to go in and reinstall or reconfigure. And now you only have 30. They warn you that you only have 30 days. Like, you only have 30 days to change your mind. So that kind of screwed up my plan. My plan was to get in and get a bunch of writing done this morning. And instead of getting a bunch of writing done, I got a bunch of reconfiguring. So, but I will tell you this. At 5 a.m., I was laying in bed, and I had an idea. And I knew that I needed to save it. So I grabbed my phone, and I sent myself a voice text message.
Are you going to play it out loud?
I voice texted it. So I spoke
voice
it,
text.
I hit the microphone and I talked into the phone and it saved it. But essentially it says student of the gun goals or principles. And I'm going to write these down. But this is what was percolating in my noggin at 5 a.m. That student of the gun, whether it's radio or television or writing or whatever, overarching, the entire student of the gun goals or principles need to be the following. Number 1, to promote the firearm as an instrument of liberty, first and foremost. Number 2, to promote the love and protection of the United States of America. Number 3, to ensure that every person listening within the audience has the opportunity and the ability to achieve or to lay hands on the means for personal defense of themselves, their families, their communities, and their nation. And that is what I sent myself this morning. So I'm going to come up with an official goals and principle statement based upon that.
Was your voice text, did that actually, like, did you talk and it translated it correctly?
Yeah. Well, it translated it to 5 a.m. foggy speech.
So I'm going to tell you guys a little secret. It's not really a secret, but it's kind of something funny that happened. The other day we were at lunch, and it was raining outside pretty hard, so I guess I found a wallet on the ground in the water, and I'm assuming the dude was running to his car to get out of the rain, and he lost his wallet. So I picked it up. I found the insurance number. I called his insurance company and said, hey, I have this dude's wallet. Call him and let him know and give him my number. So they did, and he showed up, and he was on his way to us, and he was voice texting me. And he was a Vietnamese guy, and his voice text actually translated into Vietnam, like not Vietnamese really, but like English,
into Vietnamese
like it would
English,
sound
in like a Vietnamese English accent.
Yeah, like it was funny because Student of the Gun University is actually it's in Biloxi, Mississippi, but we're in like little suburb or subdivision or what would you call this? Like a little area called Wool Market. Mm-hmm. And he said Wool Market into his phone, and it said, it translated as WOLMAKKET.
Wool Market.
Wool Market.
Wool Market.
So it was funny.
Yeah. You're racist. But thank you for...
that Google is racist.
Yeah, that is true. Google is racist.
Or Apple, one of the two.
Yeah, whoever it is. Siri.
I don't know what kind of phone he had.
Oh, man. So that's our story, and we're sticking to it. Now, today, being Monday, because it is Monday, what do we do on Mondays, kids? We do the SWAT Fuel Warrior of the Week. This is where you get to call in and be a part of the show. I do. Yes, you do. If you call 682-207-7684, which also translates to SOTG, you can call in and you will get a polite little message, and it'll say, please leave your message at the tone. And then you're allowed to hang up. I love that when you call someone and it says, please leave your message. It says, when you've completed, you may hang up. It's a good thing they told me that. Otherwise, I'd still be hanging out on hold, waiting for someone to answer their phone. Do you ever listen to that? It's like, after you've completed your message, you may hang up. I may? Well, after you complete your message, you may hang up, and then you need to tune in every Monday and find out whether you are the Warrior of the Week. And if you are the Warrior of the Week, the SWAT Fuel Warrior of the Week, you get a free bottle of 9mm plus P to try out for your very own. Now, Jared, go ahead and cue it up, brother, and then we'll tell them at the end what they need to do to get their free stuff.
Hey guys, my name is Ryan. About a year ago, my wife and I recently moved out of the People's Republic of Massachusetts and transferred over to Southern New Hampshire and free America. And I wanted to know if you had any suggestions on ways to approach neighbors or people that you think are like-minded about starting a Patriot Fire team. Thanks much. Keep up the good work.
Absolutely, we have ideas. I believe in the Patriot Fire Team book, it's Chapter 3, Starting Your Group. Isn't that what it is, Sharon? Does that sound familiar?
Yes.
Yeah. And I don't want to read you the entire chapter, but I will tell you this: I wouldn't approach people. A lot of times, as a gun culture, we think or we assume that somebody who's a gun owner is a like-minded individual because they possess an object. And the reality of it is that just because you possess an object doesn't mean that your mind is the same as mine, that we have a like mind or an identical mindset. What I would do is I would throw out, real basic stuff like, what do you think about Comrade Barry? No. I would ask them something very, very simple, such as if there was a tornado or a hurricane, or if you live, I know where you live up north, right? If you live up north, you need to be prepared for what? Blizzards and ice storms, right? You get a blizzard, you get the great blizzard of 2012 where nobody can leave their house for 72 hours to go to the grocery store and they're freaking out. Ask them about that. Say, engage them in a conversation about storm preparation. And you'll know immediately whether or not they're tracking with you. That is what I would do. I wouldn't jump in initially to the, how many guns you own, or things like that. Or, are you prepared for the zombie apocalypse? It's like, zombie apocalypse test. Do you have a machete or a pitchfork with a chainsaw attached to the end of it? Or what does Zach have in that freaking game he plays in the zombie apocalypse where you run around with like a chainsaw on the end of or a double-ended chainsaw on the end of two poles or a pole or whatever? People play that game all the time. Zombie apocalypse game. No, what I would do is genuinely engage them in a conversation about storm preparation. Are you prepared for a storm? We do the same thing down here, only we're not so much concerned about blizzards and ice storms. We're more concerned about hurricanes. And you engage people in questions or conversations about hurricane preparation. Do you have a generator? Do you have a chainsaw? Not for zombies, but for when all the trees fall down and cross the roads and you have to clear them. There's actually, did you know about the chainsaw ministry?
No.
Yeah, First Baptist Biloxi has, our former FBI friend, Tommy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's part of the what they call the chainsaw ministry, and it's basically middle-aged dudes who own chainsaws, and after storms, they go, and that's their thing, is they cut up down trees and limbs and all that stuff and clear away the roadways and parking lots and front yards and what have you. But it's a chainsaw ministry. That's what I would do. That's how I would approach people, is talk to them about, if the lights went out tomorrow and you couldn't go to the store, would you be okay? All right, well, maybe. And if people say to you, if they kind of give you that look and they're like, maybe, I don't know. I'm assuming that because you called, that you've been to the Patriot Fire Team website, patriotfireteam.com, and at very least have signed up and gotten the free How to Get Started. The How to Get Started report is actually a good way. If you want to talk to people, if they seem concerned, like, I know that I should be doing something. I know things in the United States are not right. I know things are, for lack of a better word, wrong in America right now. And I should be doing something. You know, people get that little tinge in the back of their head. They're thinking, I should be doing something. But I'm not a soldier. I'm not a Marine. I'm not a pipe hitter. I'm not a cop, whatever. I'm just a person. You know, I have a regular job and a family and so forth. But I feel like I should be doing something. And that feeling, go with that feeling. You're correct. You should be doing something. But you don't know what it is. That is the big question mark in many people's minds in the United States of America today is, okay, you tell me I should be doing something, and I agree with you, but I have no idea what that something is or what that all those somethings are. Go to patriotfireteam.com, and you put in your first name, your email address, you confirm it, and you get the free report. It costs you nothing. And you can access, basically on the site, Jared, we've got a bunch of stuff you can read without even doing anything. It's a public site. You don't have to pay for it. And you don't even have to. I'm going to go ahead and type in patriotfireteam.com right now on my Windows 7 computer, which works much better than a Windows 10 computer. Oh, of course, my computer is 5 years old. But oh, did you see that we were excoriated for using the term freebie that you came up with?
We were?
Yeah, because I said that I don't say hoodie. What's the other thing I don't say? I don't say hooded sweatshirt.
Yeah, that's funny.
And what's the other thing? Well, the reason
it fits on the tab. So
yeah, that's exactly. Then free report doesn't fit in the tab, but Jared decided that freebie did. So Jared made the executive decision. Are you ready? The book, the T-shirt, the members, the contact us, the home. There's actually several articles. There's rights versus mob rule, tasers versus stun guns. Will is more important than skill. That's obviously a very good one. Storm preparation before and after. Black rifle, hardware versus training. And there's actually a message from me to you right there on the website. So all you have to do is go to patriotfireteam.com, and what you may want to do, if you're talking to somebody and they give you that, man, I watch the news and it depresses me. It annoys me. It upsets me. It makes me feel like things aren't going right in America. Okay, we're with you. And if you think that, you might want to say, hey, have you ever checked out this patriotfireteam.com? And don't give them any predisposed notions or anything. Or they may say, or is that some kind of a crazy radical militia thing? Which is sad to me because the term militia is not a pejorative. It's not a bad word. It's not, the term militia does not mean lunatics or crazy people or extremists or whatever. Actually, it means a band of brothers that are citizens that understand that it's their responsibility and duty to protect and preserve their families, their communities, and by extension, their nation. That's what a militia is all about, at least here in the United States of America. So it's a very good question. Thank you very much for posting that, for going to 682-207-7684. And, Jared, remind them, if they have the mobile app, how easy it is to go ahead and leave us a question.
It is very easy. Download the mobile app, click the Call Us tab, click on the Word of the Week line, and it will call for you. And then you just leave your question, and we'll play it if we deem it necessary. Did you tell them what to do?
No, you do it.
I need you to, if you just heard your name or if you just heard your question on the radio show, then I need you to email Alex, ALEX, at studentofthegun.com. Email her your name, your mailing address, your phone number, and include your email address typed in the body, please.
All right, this next one we're going to do, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it, but it's something that you need to know about as patriots, as people who actually give a rat's fanny about this nation and the future of this nation. You need to know. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Das geht an die Oma des letzten Propheten Mohammed sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Ich bin Allah so dankbar, ein Muslim sein zu dürfen.
Thank you, DJ Jazzy Jared. That always puts a smile upon my face. Headline, Muslim parasites heading your way. Jared, correct me if I'm wrong, but 10 years ago, wasn't Syria our enemy? Wasn't Syria filled with people that on 9/11/01, September 11th, 2001, in Damascus and Beirut? And weren't those people marching in the street? They were having parades. They were handing out candy. They were wearing Osama bin Laden T-shirts. And they were celebrating the attack on the United States of America, the Great Satan. Does my memory serve me correctly? Yeah, my memory does serve me correctly. The, quote, Muslim street, Indonesia. Yeah, there's a lot of Muslims in Indonesia. They were all out celebrating the deaths of thousands of Americans on September 11th, 2001. So the people that were out there in the streets celebrating the terrorist attack on your nation, celebrating the fact that thousands of innocent Americans had been murdered, had been slaughtered, had burned to death, had crashed in planes. Those same people, your government wants to load them up on boats and bring them here. And you said, what now? Did I just wake up to some kind of weird, strange Twilight Zone world? Do the people in my government not have a collective memory? Do they not know? They're like, oh, but you don't know that these people are terrorists. Okay, I'll go ahead and throw you a bone there. Let's say only 1% of these refugee immigrant people, let's just say only 1% are actual hardcore Al-Qaeda ISIS supporters. And you bring 100,000 of them into the country. So what's 1% of 100,000, Jared? I know you went to public school, but you can still probably figure it out.
1.
Oh, 1, huh? Okay. So let's say we bring in, so out of all the people we bring in, only 1,000 of them are dedicated hardcore Al-Qaeda ISIS supporters. Oh, so we're only bringing in another 1,000. Let's go ahead and say maybe 5,000 hardcore Al-Qaeda ISIS supporters that think death to America is a fun phrase.
How about we take care of our own country before we start importing other people? Because
are we talking about bringing people here that want to assimilate and become Americans, that love the nation, that love freedom and liberty, that want to contribute to their communities, the states and the cities that they live in? Or are we bringing in 100,000 more parasites to get on the welfare rolls and be beholden to the Democrat Party? And, that will want to force you to change the way you do things in your city to accommodate them. Is that what we want? Is that what we're looking for in America? The same people that were dancing in the streets and celebrating the death of Americans on 9/11 are the same people that your current administration wants to load up on boats and bring here. And then, once they get here, well, they got to get in line for government assistance. Now that they're here, we need to give them your money. Yeah, because the government doesn't make money. The government takes your money and redistributes it to people. That's a good plan. I'm thinking not really so much of a good plan. But what do I know? Here's what I'm going to tell you. It's 190 cities. 190 cities have already been earmarked by your State Department to accept, quote, unquote, Muslim immigrants and refugees. So if you come here from Japan, from Europe, Northern Europe, if you want to immigrate here to start a business, to go to work for a company, a corporation, you guys have any idea how much it costs to legally immigrate to the United States of America? Get a green card, file paperwork, pay attorney's fees and all that. Thousands upon thousands of dollars and waiting time. But if you want to come here and suck the country dry as a parasite, oh, come on in. Come on in. Here's your welfare check. Oh, and your EBT card, and here is your Democrat Party voters registration card. Make sure you vote twice, or vote early and often. I guess that's the Democrat Party mantra: vote early and often. So President Barry Soetoro, I'm not really happy about this, has allowed an influx of 1,000 a year in the United States. However, they're not being screened or vetted by national security. They're just letting them in. What we're going to do for you folks out there, we're going to put a link in the show notes. And if you'd like to know if your city is on the list of 190 cities that the State Department has earmarked to receive these poor, unwashed people who want to assimilate. Yeah, the refugee resettlement. Go ahead and look it up. Go to studentofthegunradio.com, click on the show notes, and right in there, there's going to be a link.
Did you look at the Mississippi one?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Pops Ferry Road.
Yeah. Oh,
right down the road
Biloxi.
from us. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Not happy. Not happy we are. All right, that's all I'm going to say about that. I thought you needed to be aware of it. And as the week progresses, we're going to make sure that you're aware of it. And I really think if your city is on there, that you need to be contacting the city fathers and tell them, no. Because you're like, oh, no, they have to. Bull crap. They don't have to do anything. Quit assuming that just because the State Department and Comrade Barry and his minions make a decision that you have to abide by it. Read the Constitution of the United States of America and read the 10th Amendment. What? What are you talking about? 10th Amendment? Doesn't the Constitution say that the federal government has all power over everything we do every day? Isn't that what it says? No, that's not what it says. Read it, learn it, understand your rights as a citizen of the state you currently happen to be residing in. Now, if you live in a slave state, I guess it's just too bad for you. You know what kind of cracks me up is when people leave Massachusetts and they just drive 10 miles away and they go into a place like New Hampshire or whatever. But congratulations on leaving Massachusetts. That's always a good thing. Massachusetts is a great state to be from.
That's funny. I've driven through there.
Accidentally?
Massachusetts. Yeah, I think.
I hope you did.
I think that's where Lad went to get his truck when I was up there helping him move. Went up to New Jersey to help him move, and we went to. No, it was Maryland.
Yeah, you didn't go to Massachusetts.
It was Maryland.
That's farther.
Started with an M. It was
that's
close
even
enough.
Farther. Oh, Maryland's a wonderful place to be from, too. All right, well, let's move on to, let's talk about some good stuff. Let's talk about Frog Lube, our friends at froglube.com. Go there. It's green, it's minty fresh, it's non-petroleum based, and it just works. Check out Frog Lube at froglube.com. Century Arms, the makers of the C39, 100% made in the USA, RPK. And now adorned with a Duracoat camouflage finish. And if you haven't seen pictures of it, shame on you. They've been everywhere. They're on all of our social media. Well, all the ones that have pictures. Instagram, Facebook, Gun District, all that jazz. If you want to see pictures of it, go there. Duracoat.com. And you can get Duracoat from also our friends at Brownells. And I'm looking on my show notes, and I don't see the word Brownells. That's wrong. Wrong like dick cancer. Speaking of wrong like dick cancer, guess what is on the way? And I got a UPS quantum tracking notification from our sticker guy. Yeah, that's right. The sticker guy who's making the wrong like dick cancer stickers contacted me, and they sent me the quantum shipping thing. So all of you that pre-ordered the stickers this week, unless UPS lied, and I don't see them lying, and there's no benefit in them lying to me, but we will be sending those out. So watch your mail. How's that sound? This topic here, words mean things. Now, words mean things, but words mean nothing if you are not willing to support your words with action. How many of you out there in the listening audience know what the word gold standard means? Or where it came from? Jared, do you?
Yeah, it's because gold is the standard color of money.
Yeah.
No?
You always have to be an artard?
Yes.
You do?
That's my portion of the show.
That's your portion of the
That's
show
what
is
people like, yeah.
giving me retarded answers.
You're the
to my
smart guy.
questions.
I'm the duh.
No, seriously, the gold standard. Back in the old days,
I would say I really don't know.
well, the gold standard was everything, like in the United States of America, and every country in the world up until the current climate, and it was, I believe it was Nixon, well, I know it was Nixon, who took us off the gold standard. The gold standard was this. You would only issue the amount of paper currency that you could back with an equivalent amount of gold. That was the whole purpose of Fort Knox and the gold reserves in Fort Knox and so forth. And the great mythology of Fort Knox, where America's gold supply was stored on Fort Knox, surrounded by all that armor and infantry and so forth. And only a crazy person like Goldfinger would try and infiltrate it, right? So countries understood, because if you look at the history of man, paper money is a relatively new thing. I mean, I'm talking about the entire history of man, going back to Europe and, the Roman times and Greek and Egypt and so forth. Back in the Roman times, if you'd have handed someone a piece of parchment and said, here, this is money, and they're like, yeah, no. Now, they had promissory notes and they had contracts and so forth, but you guys know what we talked about the 2 bits. What's that? That's all about. 2 bits is a quarter, and you're like, why is a quarter 2 bits? Because they took gold dollar coins and they broke them into eighths, and 2 eighths is a quarter, and a quarter is 25 cents, and so forth. Right after the American Revolution, after the Civil War. People had a great distrust for paper money. There was a general distrust for paper money in the United States of America, worldwide. And so they backed it, and they said, look, here's the deal. We're going to let you guys carry around all this paper money, and you can exchange it. But at any time, how many people have gold or silver certificates? I do. This is one of those things that, like, your grandma gave you. You know what a silver certificate is, right, Jared? It looks like a piece of money. It looks like a normal bill.
Yeah, you can take it and go get your
But
silver.
it says, may be presented on demand for equivalent amount of silver.
On demand. See, even back then, they knew that on demand.
They knew that on demand was the future. Yeah. So my point is this: you guys understand what the gold standard meant? It meant that, yeah, we're going to give you this paper stuff, but in the end, if push comes to shove. And most people understood that they were never going to have to exchange their paper dollars for gold. They understood that. But there was always the standard. There was always something that would back it up. It meant something. The paper money actually had value because there was real physical gold, which is the world's currency. There's real physical gold to back it up. It wasn't just a promissory note. It wasn't just an IOU. It wasn't just something notional. Well, of course, we've gotten rid of the gold standard. They took us off the gold standard so we could play funny games with our budget, and we could just inflate the economy as we saw fit. We could just print money as we saw fit. There's nothing wrong with that. That'll never go wrong. That's never a bad idea. Just printing up however much money you feel like printing up. Think about words and actions. Think about that like gold and paper money, paper dollars.
Nipples and dimes, nipples and boobs, money.
So your words are essentially like your promissory notes. They're like your paper money. And they mean only so much. If you do not have the will to support your words with action, then the words are really meaningless. Now, do you always have to support? And I know what you guys are doing. You're reading into what I'm saying right now. You're filling in the blanks. You're assuming that you know exactly what I'm talking about. And you're wrong. You're incorrect. This is one of those times where you need to close your mouth, open both of your ears, and listen louder. Have you read the Constitution of the United States? Do you understand the Constitution of the United States? Do you understand the Bill of Rights? Do you still think, and you know what, I don't know if I should do this as a separate show or not, but screw it. I love you guys. I'm going to go ahead and give it to you right now. Do you still think that the Second Amendment is about guns? Jared, do you think the Second Amendment is about guns?
No.
What is the Second Amendment about?
Liberty. I would say keeping your freedom and your liberty.
It's about liberty. But stomping your feet on the ground and saying, I want liberty, I demand liberty, does that get you liberty?
Nope.
It doesn't. The Second Amendment is not about guns. The Second Amendment is about fighting. Shut your mouth. No, it's not. It's about guns. How many people do you know in the gun culture that are hunters, sport shooters, competitors, plinkers, collectors, whatever, that use the Second Amendment to support and defend their hobby? I'm a duck hunter. I'm a deer hunter. I'm a collector. There's a lot of collectors out there. And is there anything wrong with being a gun collector? No, there's nothing wrong with it. But when you use the Second Amendment to support or affirm your right to participate in a hobby or play a game or participate in a sport, you're missing the point. You have completely and totally missed the point of the Bill of Rights and the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment is not there so you can be allowed by the government to play a sport, to participate in a game, to collect and have a hobby. It's more important than that. The Bill of Rights is not about hobbies and games. It's about something more serious. It's about liberty. And far too often, the gun culture, people that should be the good guys, that should be on the same track, that should know what they're talking about, we get so wrapped up in all this hardware minutia. We get so wrapped up in talking about hardware and toys and this and that. We get so wrapped up in things like open carry versus concealed carry versus... Folks, all of you guys out there that are having these like wannabe, well, knockdown drag out, but they're not really knockdown drag out arguments because they're online, and so there's no knockdown drag out there. It's just online arguments. All these online arguments about open carry versus concealed carry, I think the vast majority of you have completely and totally missed the point of actually why you're carrying the gun in the first place. Do you think the Second Amendment is there so you can carry an object? Oh, the Second Amendment's there to provide me a right to carry an object and talk about an object and play with an object. No, it's not. You could substitute the word arms. Well, it says to keep and bear arms. Now, in modern times, and in 1776, they understood that arms included things that you put powder and ball in, and they went boom and made a lot of noise and smoke. They understood that was arms. But it could have said swords. It could have said spears, pikes, halberds, what have you, bayonets. Arms are arms. Arms are things, instruments of liberty. Mind blown. Consider the history of the world, of the entire world. Yeah, that's right. Not just the United States of America, but any other country, Europe, Japan, Asia. Consider that. Do a little bit of history, or a little bit of research into history, and you'll find that totalitarian, tyrannical governments, kings, parliaments, what have you, emperors. One of the first things that they always did was they made sure that anybody who could potentially oppose them was disarmed. They did it in Japan. The English were very famous for disarming people that they took over. And it's not just them. Look at human history. The United States of America is unique in human history because this is the only country, other than countries that are basically just third world where you just buy guns on the black market like Somalia or what have you. We're the only developed nation that specifically in their founding documents, in the supreme law of the land, made an exception so that the citizen could possess arms not for games, not for sports, not for hunting, but for the defense of the nation and themselves. We're the people like, oh, hang on, Paul, I'm listening to you in wherever. If you live in Switzerland, I'll give you a pass. If you live in Israel, I'll give you a half of a pass because you guys over there in Israel, you're so close to almost getting it that it's, I know you've got a lot of people all piled up on top of each other and you're still playing the empty chamber game. And I got that. Just do what you want. I don't care. But look at other countries where they allow citizens to possess arms. And when I say allow, they're allowed. It's not a right. Lots of countries in the world have constitutions. Matter of fact, most of them do. After we did it in 1776, well, we didn't do it in 1776. After we set the example in 1781 and 82 and so forth, as we progressed as a nation, after the American Revolution ended, most other civilized countries followed suit and they adopted various constitutions. And we weren't the first ones to do it. We based ours upon the Magna Carta and so forth. But the fact of the matter is, everybody's got constitutions. Canada's got a constitution. England's got a constitution. Australia's got a constitution. India's got a constitution. All these places have constitutions. Here's what they don't have. They don't have bills of rights. And they don't have built in there that the citizenry is supposed to be the boss, and the only way the citizen can actually be the boss is if they adhere to the gold standard. If you live in a country that has a constitution, but by law you have been disarmed, defanged, had your claws snipped, okay, declawed, defanged, whatever you want to say it. If you live in one of those countries, and it's like, oh, you're allowed to vote and you're allowed to pay taxes. Well, congratulations. But if you've been declawed, it doesn't matter. In the end, it doesn't matter because what you are is a disarmed tax slave. You don't have the gold to back up the paper. Do you understand that? Do you get it? And in the United States of America, we have the gold to back up the paper, but we've lost our way. We completely forget about that. We get all wrapped up in all this minutia. We have these silly, stupid arguments about 45 versus 9 millimeter versus 40 versus blah, 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 blah. Folks, it's ridiculous. We get all wrapped up in this, and I try not to get involved in it. Believe it or not, I really try not to get involved in this he said, she said nonsense until it's foisted up in front of my face and I can no longer ignore it. And that's going to lead me into the next segment. But before I do that, I'm going to take a moment. I'm going to thank somebody, well, a couple of somebodies that support us, that make sure that the lights are on here at Student of the Gun University, and that we have black carbon steel microphones and servers and even computers that sometimes accidentally have Windows 10 installed on them. And that would be Velocity Triggers. If you got a black rifle, they have a trigger for you. You want to put a new trigger in your gun? You're allowed because you're an American. You could do it at your kitchen table or on your workbench. So go to velocitytriggers.com, check out their wares. and Crossbreed Holsters. Crossbreed Holsters actually has a brand new belt. It is super cool Ninja. I just saw the press release. It's called the Aegis, Aegis belt. It looks kind of cool. So, and you know, because you're a smart student of the gun, that when you purchase a holster, buying a holster is not enough. If you buy a holster and attach it to a piece of crap Kmart belt, you're not going to be able to wear your gun comfortably, because a good belt is part of the system. Okay? Normal trouser belts that you buy at Kmart are not meant to hold up a 1.5 pound gun and a spare magazine and all the other stuff that you stick in your pockets and on your waist. So do yourself a favor and invest in a quality belt. And now, Crossbreed Holsters had belts. They've had belts for a long time, as long as they've had holsters. But this new belt is something that they're just recently promoting, so you might want to pop over there real quick to crossbreedholsters.com and take a look. And this week, we would like you guys out there. I know that I always send you to, I send you to the Facebooks and the Gun Districts and whatever for our various things. But I understand that the vast majority of you don't have the time or inclination to go to every single Student of the Gun sponsor and thank them. I get that. We're going to make it easy for you. This week only, I'm going to ask you, go over to Crossbreed Holsters, to their Facebook page or to whatever, and say, hey, heard about you on Student of the Gun. Thank you for supporting them. We appreciate what you do. All right? Bad handgun advice, or bad shooting advice, or bad tactical advice, and why is it so dangerous? You're like, everybody's entitled to their opinion, Paul. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. Yeah, okay, I'll give you that one. I have an opinion about heart surgery. Are you going to take my opinion? No, I'm not going to take your opinion. You're not a heart surgeon. You're just a person, a dude that does a radio show and other various and sundry things. But you're not a medical professional. Why should I take your advice on heart surgery? Because I'm an American and I have an opinion, and every opinion matters. No, not every opinion does matter. Some opinions are stupid. Some opinions are based upon ignorance. Some opinions are based on the crap that you've been regurgitating for 30 or 40 or 50 years even. Some opinions are based upon ignorance and arrogance. And that's when it comes to games and pursuits, trivial pursuits, bad advice doesn't mean all that much. We're not teaching ballroom dancing here. I'm not giving tennis lessons or even close order drill. What we're discussing and what we're communicating and what we focus on day in and day out is the preservation of life. Exactly. Yeah, the preservation of life, of your life, and sometimes the need to extinguish a verminous, felonious, dangerous life. That happens. Sometimes bad people attack you, and the only way to stop them from killing you or your family is to make them expire. It's pretty serious stuff. And if you have carpetbaggers, and if you don't know what a carpetbagger is, look it up. Tactical pageant queens, Johnny-come-latelys, egomaniacs that start dispensing half-ass advice, that's a serious situation, because people could take that advice and end up getting harmed or hurt because of that bad advice. Whether it's situational awareness, whether it's medical gear or training, whether it's whether or not to carry a gun, how to carry a gun, if you should carry a gun at all. When you dispense poor advice or advice that's based upon ignorance and opinion, people can get hurt. And what's worse, though, is this. What is worse is when I encounter self-appointed experts who have jumped onto this blog or that, people who essentially figured out how to use WordPress and they secured a domain name for themselves, a really super cool, like, Tactical Combat Defense Awareness Training LLC. And what they'll do is they'll write these articles that essentially downplay things that we've known for a long time, like universal safety rules, or I'll give you a great example. And this is something that really sticks in my craw because when the scales were removed from my eyes, when I was able to see, and I realized that yes, every responsible United States citizen should understand traumatic medicine. And I'm not talking about heart surgery and brain surgery. I'm not talking about starting IVs and anything like that. I'm talking about what can you do to keep someone from expiring while you're waiting for an ambulance to show up? Because there's going to be a time gap between when the person starts leaking all that red stuff out onto the ground and that big shiny box with lights all over it shows up. It might be 5, 10, 15, I don't know how long, but there's going to be time. And what are you going to do with that time that you have? Just hold their hand and say, bleed slowly? If you can teach an 18 or a 19-year-old kid to stopgap a life-threatening injury on their buddy laying on a road outside of Fallujah or in a desert or a jungle or whatever, if you can teach that kid that, why can't you learn it? Certainly you're capable as well. It's not magic. It's not voodoo. And that's something that we've been preaching for several years now here. But we encounter these people like, oh, no, you shouldn't do that. You should leave it to the professionals. You shouldn't blah, blah, blah. And what happens is people that initially were excited about receiving training, expanding their horizons, broadening their status as a student, they encounter that, and then they're like, oh, well, this guy is an expert, and he says I shouldn't. So, okay. They get talked out of doing what they actually should do. They get talked out of it by the pseudo-expert. And it's not until that they encounter a dangerous situation, a critical situation, a traumatic situation, and then they realize they go to the cupboard, and the cupboard is bare. They go to the skill and tactics cupboard, and it's empty because they didn't put anything there. Like, well, now what do I do? You can't make it up on the spot. You can't go back to thinking, oh, well, I saw a movie one time. If it's not there, it's not going to be there. The magical skill to deal with the problem doesn't occur under high stress and trauma. And I know that everybody was raised with the whole story about a grandmother that lifted a car off of her grandchild. Whatever. The fact of the matter is, if you've allowed people to talk you out of expanding your horizons, you've allowed people to talk you out of bettering yourself, being a student, then I don't know how to help you. But sadly, I keep encountering this nonsense, and I can't let it stand. Like I said, we're not talking about ballroom dancing or tennis lessons here. We're talking about the preservation of good guys' lives. It's a pretty important subject, wouldn't you think? Wouldn't you say, Jared? Jared agrees with me.
I always agree. Well, not always,
he
but most of the time.
With me. So I hope that you can take a little bit away from today's show. I hope that if you're a first timer, if you've just encountered Student of the Gun for the very, very first time in your life, welcome and congratulations on your good decision-making skills. Keep this in mind, though. You're not going to get it the first time. Nobody does. Now, you might be one of, well, I guess there are a couple of special people. But the best thing for you to do is to just close your mouth, open your ears, listen louder, and pay attention to what's said. Some of you may be surprised. Surprise. This is what we do each and every day. What we do here at Student of the Gun is not a secret. We make it public all the time. That's what freaks me out is people are like, derpa, 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 these guys are derpa, derpa. It's like, have you ever, watched, listened, read anything? I mean, we're not hiding it.
Nope.
We're not
it just
hiding.
takes a little bit of effort.
That's you nailed it on the head right there.
I've been over here putting out fires or maybe fueling them. I don't know. I might have been fueling these fires because I just over
Are
here,
you over there while I'm talking kicking hornets' nests?
Yes.
Oh,
Indeed I am.
Oh, well, good for you. Good.
So you should just stay off Facebook.
Okay.
You just stick to Gun District. Go to Gun District.
GunDistrict.com. Yeah. Okay. You should go to GunDistrict.com, too. Jared, before we let them go, I want you to start educating the audience, because you know how people have to hear something 4 or 5 times before it kind of sinks into the gray matter there. Tell them what's going on with the beta test and the new all-access grad program.
Oh, okay. Yeah, beta testing has begun, and actually I opened it up on Friday, I believe. It was Friday. For people to break stuff over the weekend. And he's got a new... Is that a new one? Did you new camo? Is that a new one that you... Is that mine? Oh, he's got a gun over there for me.
No, I've got the new 40 round Magpul in here.
Is that a new camo pattern? Did you do that? No, that's old. Okay. Anyway, so I opened up beta testing last Friday. So the grad program people that I chose about 15 people to be beta testers, and 15 of them are trying to break stuff over the weekend. So
they're hitting buttons trying to make stuff not work.
It's actually going very well. There's a couple minor fixes, just stuff that I have to fix for the looks of it. Everything, the functionality is working very well, and I'm very happy about that. I'm kind of waiting for something to go wrong. But I don't have all of the stuff posted yet. I'll be working on that this week, and I hope to release the new grad program to the public for everybody by the latest on Thursday
of this
week.
And
the way I'm going to do it is I'll leave the old way. I'll keep doing the old way, the one that we do right now, where we send it through Gumroad. We send it to the email addresses. I'm going to keep doing that for 30 days after we open up the new one, to give you guys time to transfer over, and that way you guys don't have...
Well, give them a real quick what's up. At Gumroad, we really appreciate their service.
Yeah, they do.
But what we're doing is we are making legitimately an all-access.
Yeah.
A Student of the Gun all-access.
What's going to be...
Archived radio, archived television, archived articles.
Yep. Everything is going to be... basically, the way it's going to be is studentgunradio.com is going to become the hub for everything radio. And what we're going to do is 50 episodes will be open to the public. It's just going to be like iTunes. The most recent 50 are open to everybody. They can view them. And if you want to go back any further than that, you have to be a grad program subscriber. And then once I move on, I'm going to move on from the radio. Then I'm going to start adding TV stuff. And I'll probably just do it from the radio site.
Well, and we're also going to have exclusive educational and video material.
Oh, yeah.
As well, that we're going to be able to add. And Gumroad, as much as we like them, all of the stuff that we needed to do, that we wanted to do, that we had to deliver, we couldn't do it all. And Jared's kind of been agonizing in the background over what mechanism are we going to use? And you don't care. You're the end user. You're like, I don't care what you do. I just want to put my click, and access it. And we got that. But you should understand. You're intelligent people because you're listening to me. Understand that in the background, there's a lot of stuff that goes on. And you're like, man, that's a pain in the butt. I don't want to have to do anything else. I just want to do it once and have it keep happening. We had to make the decision. Are we going to expand the grad program? We're going to make it all access. We're going to add additional material and so forth. And if we do that, how are we going to do it? Well, it's happening now. It's becoming a reality. And like Jared said, he's got a lot of the grad program members who are currently in there, and they're testing it to make sure things are the way they should be so that we can make it public for everyone. And so you will have the opportunity.
I'll tell you guys why we're switching. Other than what Dad just said for the front end stuff. On the back end, Gumroad has an awesome service. If you guys want to open up a business or something, then it's a great way to do it. And they actually now have affiliate a section where you can do affiliates. So if you guys actually have a store and you want to open up a business, you can give us a link to sell your stuff if it's Student of the Gun approved. So if you want to take that route, then do it. But the issue is when you do subscription programs with Gumroad, you cannot physically change your customer's email address or their credit card information. So like if your credit card gets stolen and you have to change it, you physically have to go in there and do that. You can't just email me or call us and say, hey, do this, please. With the new system, I'll be able to do that. And I've communicated back and forth with Gumroad for a little while, and they said that they're not going to include that functionality. because they would get in trouble for sharing their customers' information, which I definitely understand. So there's that. What do you think?
I'm all done thinking. And I tell you what, after we finish this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the updated show notes, and I'm going to take my butt into the gym, and I'm going to do a little bit more working out, a little more sweating. All right, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, we are just beginning a brand new week of Student of the Gun Radio. Thank you for joining us, and look forward to more. We actually we should have a special guest for you this week, but I want to make sure we got the interview all set before I announce that. But perk up your ears, pay attention. It's coming. Beginner Ones, student for life.